Hi, and it's Lilia here from Heal Scotland, and I have the lovely Alina Keiras. It's so lovely to see you, my darling. How are you?
Oh, hello. I'm very, very well.
Good.
Very. So it's like
Alina and I met, it's actually only 2 years ago, nearly exactly. It'll be our friend's anniversary at the very first Goddess Gathering. And we very quickly connected, and then obviously over the last year in particular, I've got to know our beautiful three boys and our amazing powerhouse of a husband, and she's a bit of a powerhouse herself. So many things that I could talk to you about, and a bit like when I'm talking to Jennifer, we could be on here for weeks. But let's just start with your own healing journey and how you came from really nearly your deathbed with three very young boys, and how you managed to get back to full health. Take it away.
Yeah, definitely. So that's why I feel we connected with Lilia so much, because her message just resonates with me 100 million, like %. It's like completely, because everything what she preaches, I went through. And so when it was approximately 5 years ago, maybe a bit more now. So we had three boys, and so for 5 years, before those 5 years, my body did not belong to me. So I was pregnant, breastfeeding, pregnant, doing all the right things. So, and just suddenly, I literally just finished breastfeeding the third one, and within weeks, honestly, within weeks, I started having incredible pain in my tummy. I ignored it. It's like what you do. You drink painkillers, because it's like you hope that it's gonna just disappear. So I ignored it for a little while, but suddenly pain became stronger. But at the same time, what I was doing is, because I put a bit of weight because of the pregnancies and I couldn't shift it. And what I was doing at the same time, I thought I was doing all the healthy things, and I did my research in nutrition. But you know what? The root cause of my action was that I was silently hating myself. So it was putting the right things, but why? Because I was finding myself literally just constantly every morning standing in front of the mirror, touching my body and wishing it to change, wishing it like with passion. And it's like I was doing all the right things, but inner motivation was to change because I hated myself. Mm-hmm. So that's why my body, because our cells are listening. It's like you can talk one thing, but they're listening what is here. You know, something what nobody else apart of us knows what is actually happening behind closed doors. And so very quickly my body just collapsed, and I got diagnosed with colitis. But the thing is, another thing what I actually ignored quite a few years before this happened: asthma symptoms, out of breath, migraines. It's like I was ignoring those, thinking that's a norm. You know, for busy mom, we were building our business as well at that point. It's norm, is it? You know, pop the pill, it's okay, it's a season, it's a flu, blah, blah, blah. Constantly in a cycle of cold, illness, well, a bit better. So it's like, I thought that's normal because everyone around me lived that way. So when my body just literally put me down to the bed for nearly a year. So it was really sudden, but I had to have that wake up call. I had to have a slap, because otherwise I was not listening. But you know what? It's now interesting. I had that information because I was always a bit of health nerd. I was literally really researching, very similar like you, Lilia, do. It's like you're posting that stuff, super informative and useful. I was the same for years. I was constantly researching, but my reason was not wellness. Underlying root reason was hating myself. Yes. So it's the same energy channeled in completely wrong direction. So yeah, and back to the bed. I'm like, okay, everything what I did, all vegan, all healthy, all vegetarian, all metals, heavy metals, all detoxes, you name it. Like I went through every single. Honestly, I don't ever hear something what I haven't tried these days.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And it never gave me what I wanted. Why? So me in bed completely could stand at one point literally for 5 minutes a day. And I managed to mask it so well that people would see me, but nobody would realize because I was ashamed. I was ashamed of showing people that I was wrong, you know, that my life is not working. And it's interesting because I never sat down and thought about being ashamed, but it was just naturally, I just don't want to show anyone how bad it is. So people would see me for a while, pretty okay looking, and I would go back to bed.
Yes. Yeah.
So this was life, masks, fake, fake, honestly, because it's just it's interesting because you don't want to let people know.
I think pretty much every mum that I know does that. They put a brave face on it because we believe, you know, it should be the happiest time of our life. And of course it is that love that you get, but it can also be absolutely the hardest time of your life. And also you've grown human beings, you're depleted. We're living isolated in a unit, like we were never supposed to be isolated as women and as mothers. So there's so many reasons, and there's just so much competition and stress now, and the paying of the bills. That I think you know, any mum watching this will resonate, and the body shaming as well. You know, it's the looking at yourself. You know, it's now at my age I don't really care much about the body shape, but I remember when I was younger, it was actually I had to throw my scales out at one point because I was getting on them 2 or 3 times a day, and I thought this is healthy.
The same, and even like coming from the bathroom, did I receive that result? It's like, and that was so much. It's just the way of living. I throw skills a while ago now, but it's the way we were brought up. That's the way.
Yeah, exactly. Can we just quickly touch on, because I know that after vaccinations, you put your kids through a bit of a heavy metal detox. Can you just talk about that a little bit before we launch into your own actual recovery?
Absolutely. So our oldest one, he had first set of vaccinations, and on a second set, as far as I remember, so he had reaction. He had quite a bad reaction to vaccination. And at that point, I was just like really following what medical advice would say. And I thought that's normal as well, but he couldn't get better for months. He was he was having as well asthma symptoms, but we saw this one that he was healthy and suddenly not as much, and in about 3 months we couldn't help him. He was going from antibiotics to antibiotics, and at one point I was like, you know what, it's like it's just like it was something inside, you know, it's so interesting. It was something inside saying you just need more information. So I just, of course, at that point, Google is plenty of nonsense, but there are some good things in there. So always trust your own heart and your feelings. So I went in and I researched, and I saw that there is a tendency to have that heavy metal poisoning. And I went through the symptoms, and I realized that, okay, that's actually, he's matching those. So what we did, kids were small and we could do it. So we went all our family on a very strict, I honestly can't even recall the protocol, but it was like copy paste. And because I was constantly researching anyway, I knew what was good and what was maybe not as beneficial. And it was based on Gerson therapy. That was the base, 100%. And we went through the raw food, and it's like it was 3 months, all of us, all the family went.
That's
And
quite that's a pretty and amazing achievement. Well done, because it's a challenge with children.
We were quite small. That was
Make it easier.
That was easy. And we were before that stage where we would go to the parties and would realize that we kind of are fed differently. It was the perfect age. I think Max was what, about 2.5, 3. So it's like it's honestly it's perfect age. We still can't. So and that's it. And it really cleared his system. And that was what was interesting part, that while we were clearing, we put hope and trust in it, because it's like it worked for somebody, so hopefully it will work. And Max was at that time that small. He would wake up in the morning, nobody told him so, or nobody gave him that example, but he would run into the garden immediately, 6, 7 in the morning. He would take a hose of, or that's how you pronounce it, of water.
Yes.
And he would literally put himself under the water exposure.
Really?
And he did it like, I thought, it was just maybe a playful time. 1 time, 2nd mornings, 3rd one, I'm like, whoa, we don't do it. But he was natural, I think, because he was clearing his system, some kind of wisdom, and because they are very open kids.
Yes.
And he'd done it for 30 days. Honestly, it was so hilarious. I was thinking every single morning, will our neighbors not call social services? It was every spring. It was cold. Like I was with a coat in the garden, and at that point, little one naked with his panties, and would put his like ice cold water on himself, and would run back. Wow. That was his practice. So, and you know what? Since those 3 months and his 30-day approximately of cold water exposures, the guy has never been ill since, and now he is 10 nearly.
Yes, yeah.
So
wow.
Being really unwell, suddenly his immune system just got rebooted completely, just boom, and now he might have 24 hours something going on. Done. It's like, so who we're gonna start trusting for our inner guidelines?
Well, I mean, that's what we kind of preach and teach, isn't it? Is that and I mean, it's well documented that mums sense things, and often mums' intuition, well, certainly it used to get overlooked, but we know, particularly with our own children and our grandchildren, you can sense. It's that sixth sense. So let's talk about your actual healing, because I know, correct me if I'm wrong in my memory here, you went to Jennifer Main's data course. Right.
Yeah. So basically
so
nothing worked in the world, all these school protocols and things didn't help me. Well, at that point when we were on the raw food type, I was feeling better, much better. It was before my body collapsed. So it's so I knew a lot of cool stuff, but still, what was that moment where additional level of healing happened, where I literally in the evening I was like, gosh, nothing works, I'm getting really worse, like really, really worse. Couldn't stand up for 5 minutes. I saw that my husband was looking at me. I dropped incredible amount of weight, and he was looking at me, and we realized, the possibility is there that it's possibly not, I might actually leave. But there was something in me. I know I straight away disclaimer, I don't encourage it to do anyone this, but something deep inside of me said no to the conventional treatment what NHS offered, because it was steroids, long course of steroids. I knew what my body will go through as well. And if not, it was operation where part of my colon had to be removed and replaced with outside bag. And to be honest, when I had that little baby, like our last one, 3rd one on my hands, I'm like, what kind of quality of life will I have? And for me personally, that quality of life was more painful than actually leave. And I'm talking because I've done lots of inner work to understand the root cause. It was not in my mind. I wasn't thinking this way, but when I really had sit with me, I realized that the intention was like, I would rather not live than having this quality of life for the rest of the life. And we have all different reasons, but it was mine. So I was like, okay, nothing worse. I was a little bit more into spirituality at that time, because since my birth, since being very, very small, I realized that I see and feel things differently, but I couldn't understand what and why. Really, I couldn't understand. And at approximately teenage years, I got really frightened, really, really frightened. So I had to shut those senses. That's why I couldn't really sense everything the way it is, which led me to being placed in bed to actually open them up. So until I was in the evening, I was like, my God, it's like, I didn't use that word, maybe a God, but I, like, without naming, without labels. It's like universal intelligence, wisdom, your inner strength. We can call it whatever it feels, but there is something what is stronger than us, that force of life. And I was like, okay, if you want me to leave this life, I'm saying yes. If this is my mission, if this is intention of yours, I'm okay. I had that inner chat, but I'm actually don't want to. I don't want to. And it's like, guide me. I honestly, I just had to drop all the walls, all my knowledge, honestly, all
surrender.
Completely, honestly, all the knowledge, all protocols, like everything, I had to drop everything at that moment. Just that unknown zero state. I literally remember that, and I'm like, guide me. And next morning, straight away, I'm awake, 4 a.m. No, I don't do that, but I like bright awake, 4 a.m., sat near laptop quietly, not to wake up family, like, and just suddenly my hand started typing. And that's the weirdest, but you know what? 4 a.m., my brains were still not understanding what the heck. I didn't got scared.
Yes.
I think if it was happening at 8, I would be like, oh my God, Thomas, oh, help me. You know? So it's like 4 a.m. and the picture of Jennifer Main popped up. I had no idea who she was, what she does. But not surprisingly, she had a workshop in 2 days. I pulled myself up. I said, I have nothing to lose, like nothing. Went there, and she started talking about your connections with your family. It's like how those patterns influence your reality. And at that point, I had my mom in here, and she was really, we couldn't agree on many things, let's say gently. And when Jennifer was talking, I'm like, wait a second, okay, so it's like I can actually somehow work on myself, something, and it's like it helped. So yeah, I just felt this lady has knowledge which I really need. I felt into my heart, and I went for it. I went through her courses. I've done quite a lot of courses with her, and with every single one thing, very, very important, because again, intention, why people want to be healthy and why they choose particular things and to heal. Because I was, again, searching for a quick fix. I thought Jennifer will, stand there, will take a magic wand like that, and she will be just like, yeah, heal. I honestly, it wasn't in like consciously sitting and wishing for it, but I was, because I didn't want to look at my life.
Well, I think we're all the same. We would love if there was the magic pill or the magic person or the magic thing.
Yeah, and you know what? And I think it was advanced course of hers, I had instant healing.
Yes.
I actually had complete healed in like, boom. And what for people who might be watching, I'll give a little bit, in a few minutes, details. So because I was so unwell, what it meant with digestive system issues, I would go on the toilet for about 20 times a day and it would bleed. That's how it looked like. So for me, suddenly, from this, going into none, I could see the instant healing. Let's say if there is something in people's inside organs, we might not straight away see it.
It's very measurable. You could measure it.
Like obvious. And I was like, woo, you know, I got what I wanted, I'm healed. And you know what? Day three, we're still on a course, you know, I'm like still, yes, that's it. My life is amazing. It's on about day 3, I start seeing that symptoms start creeping back a little bit. And I'm like, again, thinking I've done something wrong. Again, what? Punishing myself. Again, thinking you are stupid, what you do wrong. All my mind power was going into blaming myself and trying to find what I've done wrong.
Yes.
Reaffirming that I'm wrong. I am, again, not worthy, and I am all this. Again, the same pattern, not looked in. And that's where I realized, okay, I think I have to really start looking at and practicing, but I got tools. That was the main thing. I got tools and I went and I practiced sometimes 6-7 hours a day.
Wow. So
6-7
you committed. Well, I suppose you had a huge why. You wanted to stay and you knew you weren't going to take the drugs and surgery on offer. So you made a very clear choice, and having that, because, you know, belief is such a big thing, isn't it? I think if we truly, well, Joe Dispenza says, the reason you're not doing it is because you don't believe it. And once you truly have that strong why and that belief, then you can make your decision and commit knowing that it's going to work.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was on fire. I didn't need to be motivated. I didn't need someone to tell me or, you know, somehow help me. I was like on it. I was on my own mission. I didn't need anyone. I was like, tools in my hands. I've got the tools. I didn't always need Jennifer, you know, like I love her to bits. Honestly, she's one of the best things what came into my life. And it's like, but there was no clinginess, you know, that you're gonna save me. You know, that said, do that stuff again. It's like, it was how the relationship developed. I'm like, okay, Jennifer, hold the space to me because I need to understand what the heck is happening.
Yes.
So it's like, so she's always with me still since, and it's like just hold the space because like I need to clarify because I can't overcome my maybe limiting belief in particular situation. I need your help, but not take a magic wand, but like hold me while I'm gonna go and do it.
Yes, so just support and guidance. But that's the big message. The healer, you know, gives you the guidance, really, and the support. Totally.
And that's it. But you do your own healing, and that's why when I saw your message, I'm like, oh my God, she knows everything. And it's like I could not believe how powerful it resonated with me. So what happened actually with that healing journey? It took me another year to really understand my patterns, to really start loving myself, to really start understanding. I didn't understand at that point that I was already intuitively working with my cycles. I start understanding my periods. All the cool things people do now, I honestly did everything before that. Removed all chemicals from home. It's like I'm so happy now that I can talk to people and they understand, because before I felt that I was scared to even share it, not to be being judged and being not understood, because we were
exactly. So many people don't understand. Very different. So do you work one-to-one with people? Because I know that, I mean, Crohn's, colitis, ulcerative colitis, there's so many people suffering from that right now. So can people contact you?
It's yes and no, because it's like I've got private clients, but my vision is to step away from it. Because yeah, I can always share my wisdom and I can always show what I did, but at the same time I feel that my universe, because on that journey when you really start loving yourself and really start honor yourself, you understand what are your gifts. So I will be moving away and maybe possibly doing a future more group work so I can reach more people quicker.
Yes, yes.
Because one-on-one is good. Maybe it's something, it's what I'm talking is just on a day now. It can change because what I realized, I've got my very strong practices of meditation, and not the ones who just you take meditation as you did, but you don't leave meditation till you change your state.
Jojo.
So it's like I'm very aware of, I trust one thing is my inner guidance and compass, because sometimes it just says go and talk to that person or answer the email of that person or work with that person, and I do that.
Yes. So possibly the best thing for people that want to learn is just to go on one of Jen's courses.
It's like for theta healing, which this is the technique I applied, definitely. Yeah. And my healing was completely a bit different, so it's like, yeah, I'm happy to share my information.
Healing can be a puzzle. You know, I mean, I think most people start with nutrition, and then
I've done nutrition last.
Did you?
It's honestly, it's like I've done nutrition last, but it just went in and put everything into place, and just all the light just went poof. So I've done the last, honestly. That was, but again, my journey is very unusual.
Well, I think the one thing that I keep saying is that everybody does it differently, and we have to do it differently because we have to do it for this body and not for anyone else's. And we want a prescription of protocols, but in actual fact, that's not how it works for most of us. So
100% agree. And you know what I'm saying to people? It's like apply the protocol, commit, do your best. So it's not like 3 days and I'm out, because usually before you're getting better, it gets worse. It's like, and that's where I think that's where this is what I see, because I hold some woman circles, but I'm very much into very good places where people talk honestly, so I see what is happening, and it's people just like commit, it gets worse, and they're like, no, that's not for me.
Yeah,
is it? And then you commit, and when you decide, your body will decide if this is good for you, not you.
Yes, exactly, and that's two completely different things. We could do a whole podcast on that, and maybe we will do that soon. But let's now talk about the Goddess Gathering. For anybody who wants to meet you and hear you speak, obviously, we are going to be in Portavadie Marina Spa Resort, this beautiful place. We're going to be there from the 31st of October till the 3rd of November. You can come for a morning, a day, 2 days, or the full 4 days. And Alina's going to be there talking, inspiring us and telling us about all the amazing things that she does. And if you're going to be there for the 4 days, what's lovely about the Goddess Gathering is making all these new friends. You, Jen, Julia. It's just been phenomenal for me to have like-minded, crazy, powerful women.
You know, Lilia, how many people try to get me on a Zoom podcast or interviews? You have no idea. But you said it to me, I'm like, that's it, I'm on it.
Thank you, because I know how busy you are with 3 boys, never mind the other businesses. So tell me, because you actually said to me after the last, because this is the 3rd Goddess Gathering, so after the last 2, things happened for you. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Yep. So the first Goddess Gathering, I had no idea where I'm going, but Jennifer was talking. I'm like, I'm there. So, and that's where I was still, I knew that I know something, but I was really fearful of sharing. So I was more into the listening seat, and I just loved the environment. It's just like you really attract the right people and the right mixture. It's like, that's where it's like, it's that environment. It's just something like really tingle about it. When I'm talking now, it's like tingling. And it's like, so on the first one, it was, I think, yeah, on the first one, Jennifer was leading us through the meditation, and I saw a book in a meditation, and at that moment I'm like no. That's like English is my third language. There is no way I can. Like, are you crazy? That's like, so the book, and it was actually written like that I'm gonna be writing the letter to my younger self on a book. It was literal on the cover. I was like, whatever, next, you know, completely ignored it. But on the second Goddess Gathering last year, I arrived, and I was already a best-selling international author with writing letter to my younger self. But it was huge lesson, that project, I can tell you. It's like, so it's like huge lessons, lifetime lesson. And it was amount of growth I had to do while I was witnessing what was happening. It's like how the project was developing and grown. It was big lesson. So it's like, so something from this and that, something what is kind of impossible. So last month, so last Goddess Gathering, again, I came in with much stronger belief. And I remember with Lilia, we sat, and we're like, let's the workshop. Yeah, okay, the workshop. And you know what, that was the moment, that was first moment where, because when I had that gut issues, and I was in fear, still living in fear if it comes back or something. Yes. And I had like stress related IBS. So I was still, only if I would stretch my comfort zone or would get stressed, you would find me in a loop. So that was my life, and that's why I couldn't step forward, no way. Yes, yes. And that's why workshop at Goddess Gathering, I was like, whoa, that's beyond my comfort zone, beyond. And even though I was healthy at that period, I'm like, what if it's like, it's massive, like, yes. And I'm like, I just have to go for it, because Lila created such a supportive environment that even though if I am there leading something, if something like this happens, I will be held, you know, and understood and supported. And this is unique. Yes. This is unique. And that's why I said yes, like, you know, I'm going to go for it. And I went at the workshop, I literally had sweat pouring my back, how it was all. So and at that moment, I realized I'm okay. Yes. And that was the moment which made me step massively this year, massively, because I realized, so at Goddess Gathering was very transformational. Something is in there where people can receive what we need, I would say, not what we ask. If we want to, if we are open to it, and we're all on different journeys. But I love it, and I'm so excited to be now. It's like, okay, you're gonna be talking in front of the people. I'm like, you know, electricity. But it's like, I know that this is the safest place in terms of the gathering. And lots of people, I just cannot explain. People are really have to experience it, but at the same time, just come with open heart, you know, because if we are expecting, if we're defensive and we are expecting something less than extraordinary, we might really attract it, because I think all of us combined to really create that field of energy where things appear. It's one way or another. So if the person comes looking for something a bit less than positive, it can appear. So that's why Lilia put the workshops and everything in place, so you can clear, see, review, renew yourself, and really amplify it, and just project it into the future. That's how I see it.
Yes, yeah. And I think, you know, it's a platform for all these incredible women who often, when you have a skill and you're in the healing and you've got a gift to give, marketing yourself is not your strong point. So the way I saw it was we're giving all these women who have got so much to give a platform that's, as you say, it's non-scary. And I have to say, your first workshop, people came out of it going, oh my God, what the hell? Something happened there. And I was like, damn, I missed it. Because of course, I'm usually at the speaker stage, so I've missed a lot of the workshops. But
exactly.
yeah, we need to find a way to make sure we can all do everything.
I could not believe, because it's like half of a workshop. I just surrendered so much. I can say straight, I was taken, I can't remember half of it. But what really made me understand that by surrendering and allowing what is inside of me, or what is allowed to channel through me, come and do its work. Honestly, that's what I realized, that the only thing I need to work on is just to remove my fears around it, because trust. And that's why, because environment was the right one, trustworthy, it just opened up. And you know what, when it opened up, when after I started running classes, I started running women circles, every single time it was coming. It was natural. So it was that safe container for it to unlock. And now it's so natural to me, so natural. So it's
because you practiced it. And you know, when you think about the difference in 2 years, it's so exciting to see. It's so exciting to see.
Everything changed.
Yes.
And I'm so looking forward for more, because you know, when I came first time, I never expected this one. So it was like, it's gently support the transformation and growth for everyone who is showing up on a yearly basis, I believe, because it's
Yes, absolutely. And you and Julie and Jen are going to do a sort of ceremony on the Friday night, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because I say to people, it's a 4-day retreat, but people can just come for the Saturday, Sunday if they want, or just for the Saturday. It's well worth making. It's a 2-hour drive from Glasgow, 3 hours from Edinburgh, which is really nothing. It's stunning scenery on the way.
It's stunning, and honestly, what people, it's like, I personally believe that this is the best what happens in Scotland.
Yes,
absolutely. Like I've seen a lot from around the world, and it's
very, very beautiful.
It's that luxury if you choose to, you know, and it's like, it's just so, people need to feel it.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thank you so much, and it's great, and I'm looking forward to seeing you, and then I'm also going to be seeing your husband for Joe Dispenza. And
you guys, honestly, I'm like, these guys gonna just rock. I could cannot imagine, like,
it's just going to be so much fun. There's so many great things coming up. So back home for the Goddess Gathering, I'll leave the link down below. If you get any questions, if you want to, I'll put your website on. I know you also have a nutrition range. You have so we'll leave the links on for that.
Things which I personally use. So it's like,
yes, because I think that's a really powerful way. It makes life really simple, and I think when people are busy, it's nice to have something that you just don't have to think about. So please contact Alina, and thank you so much for giving Heal Scotland your time, and your help at the community and your support always is invaluable. So thank you so much for that. And I will see you in a week or so.
Very soon. We're gonna have so much fun. Bye. Love you so much.
Ciao.